Okay, we're gonna go live. Let me go ahead and get my co-host up here, and he should be here. He's in Venezuela, so hi, Jeremy. We're just trying to figure out what's going on here, but I'm so excited that Carlos found you because it really bothers me that no one is doing anything about creating some type of project to help with the hurricane victims of Hurricane Ian. And Poison is here. He's from South Florida also. So he is into music NFT. So hopefully we'll get him up. Maybe he'll announce something going on too with his project. And then my music NFT, Crypto God Louie, we do a space later together. And my good friend Jason's here. How are you? And also Chitty Pains. Hi. Haven't seen you in a while. Thank you for being here.
Nice. Yeah, it's very important that people don't lose sight of things that are going on in the world. And, it's a little too easy sometimes to lose sight of what's actually going on. And I don't see the same attention as most natural disasters here on EN.
And the weirdest thing is, it's so political. I can't get over it. I'm like, and then we're all like, so, I mean, like we've been helping NFTs project quite a bit. And, I understand the craziness going on with Ukraine and everything, and people are donating and people are giving back and everything like that. But I'm just really surprised that we don't have people in America that are like, stepping up to the plate and talking about this.
Yeah, well, we also got to be able to diversify what we're able to, talk about and give to. We can't stay on a one track mindset where, there's only one issue at a time. And that's a big problem that we have here in America is just one issue at a time. And, we're conditioned to stay in a one-track mindset. It's not even that people are necessarily choosing to do it, but they're conditioned to stay on one track at a time. And that unfortunately hurts sometimes.
Well, that's one thing I'm very impressed about you, because you have two projects going on, giving back, and we're gonna have you come back again to talk about the other project that you're working on. So I appreciate you for being here. And Carlos, how are you?
Okay, fine, thank you. I have a little bit connection problem, but already solved. How's everything?
We're doing good. We're live streaming right now to all our social network. I had to go in and reconnect all my Facebook accounts, but we're all set now, ready to go. And so why don't we just go ahead and start? And like so Carlos and I have been talking quite a bit because this is our 30th episode, and we have always been wanting to give back on every single project. I think we were like one of the first people to talk to NFT artists about the Ukraine situation. So a lot of people were donating to that. And I just, being from Florida, I just noticed not too many people are doing anything about the hurricane that we just suffered through. And I think we're still going through it further north. But so today, I'm so thrilled that we have our special guest and NFT Demon 420. He's here, and actually Carlos found him online and shared it with me. And we were planning to host a space about this anyway. And actually, I want to change the title so I can make sure I have your name on the project itself. So Carlos, tell me how did you find NFT Demon?
Well, actually, what I had in mind is like since we have been doing spaces regarding causes, humanitarian causes, and that's the name of the actual space, NFTs for a cause. I was worried about Ian's hurricane and the devastation in Fort Myers and stuff, and I just was thinking that I was like, I was. It would be nice, or it would be good or useful for the people to try to find some institution or some person actually working on helping Florida people through NFTs. And what I did was only a search in Google, and I put exactly that. It has to be my search history, and what I said was, what I put was something like NFTs sellings helping Ian's hurricane victims. Something very, very simple and not very clear like that. But Google understood somehow my search purpose. And in the second or third round, we got the demon. And I saw that, and I saw the cover of this Yahoo Finance review. And I said, oh, this smells like bingo. and then we started to chase him, and finally we're here.
You're so fun. We started to chase him.
Well, I'm glad you found it.
Yeah, exactly. I just like to, because it was no, it appeared just like your name, actually named, which is, oh, I forgot now, not like Demon 420, but the name of your name was in big size in the starting of the article, and I saw that it was clearly related because it was regarding, I mean, talking about exactly doing that, just like other cases we have been handling it in these 30 weeks, like the Tonga people from the volcano in the Pacific, and the people, different people, for example, suffering from sexual abuse, and I cannot, it happens with just like with the jokes. I work with comedy, and I've been 4 decades working with jokes. And when someone comes out of the blue and tells you, okay, tell me a joke, and your mind goes blank. So, Tonya, help me. Which other programs we have done? We don't have Manuel here to help us. But all of them have been with this disposition. For example, in the cause of the Tonga's NFT for a cause, they were handling it through Caritas, the organization from the Catholic organization, which is very, very old and has been really, really serious, especially after earthquakes and other natural disasters too, to actually taking good care of the handling of the money, because sometimes you have people. For example, we had 2 cases already since Ukraine war started. And in every case, what we try to do is that to get sure that the process is like clean, because sometimes you have the artists, you have the NFTs, you sell them and stuff. But the important thing is that the actual proceeds can get to the hands of the people in need.
Yeah, most definitely, and it's really important that things go to the right spot. Um, when you're talking about charity collections, especially.
So, Jeremy, why don't you tell our listeners a little about yourself? And also, I want to put out this disclaimer. We are live streaming on 6 social networks. Once we put out the microphone, anyone that has the microphone, they're agreeing for us to record, disseminate, and share the content out. So again, this will be, and then we're developing a podcast also. So this is a podcast, but it's going to be going out to 10 other podcasting platforms. So Jeremy, welcome to our NFTs for a Cause. You're our episode 30, and tell us a little about yourself and your what made you decide to get involved in Hurricane Ian and also your other project too. I want to make sure we talk about that. But before we start, I want to say hi to my friend Michael. He's also from Florida. The mic is yours, Jeremy.
Oh, okay. Yeah, my name's Jeremy Ryan. I am an NFT artist. I'm the largest NFT artist on Binance Smart Chain, which is the third largest chain for NFTs. And I recently moved over into Ethereum. So I have my first Ethereum collection coming out. That's the one with my profile picture, but that's not the one that we're mainly talking about today. But I came about the Hurricane Ian relief efforts mainly just because I have several friends in Fort Myers. I have several friends in Miami. I have friends scattered throughout Florida, actually. I live in California, but I have many friends in Florida, scattered throughout really just about anywhere this was going to hit. And so I knew that no matter what happened, I was going to have some friends that were going to be affected. And I really, I was in the middle of a project, the Super Gremlin Society, which is the one that my profile picture was on, and that's a really that's going to be a really big project with a whole lot of money behind it, and a whole lot of stuff. But I wanted to do something that would be quicker, and that would be quick, and that would be easy. So I was offered on Few and Far to be the first collection to be launched on their launch pad. And so I had already been working on a collection for that launch pad, because it's going to be on Near Protocol, which is a more novel smart chain. But Near Protocol is the new and up and coming marketplace. So they've got a huge following for Near. And so they offered me to be the first project that they did on their launch pad. And once Ian came, I just decided to do a charity collection versus doing, some other type of collection with that slot that I had. Because with the launch pad, you get marketing, you get, different support. So my costs as an artist aren't nearly as high for the actual project itself. I have to put in all the art. I've got to put in a lot of time, but I don't actually have to put in a whole lot of money going through the launchpad route. And so that worked better for a charity collection because the more money that you have to put in, obviously, the more money that has to be paid back, which is the less money that comes in to the actual charity. And so I realized that my costs were going to be about 20%. And so with Schnauzers and Trousers, which is the collection for Project Ian or for Hurricane Ian, I decided to donate the extra 80%. About 20% is going to be for project expenses, but the other 80% I decided to donate directly to Hurricane Ian relief efforts. And I don't have an organization yet set up, and the reason for that is like I said, I have friends in the area, and I want them to, and they're very active, and they're all helping out, and they're very very involved in everything, and thankfully they didn't lose their houses, but they're going to let me know which organizations are doing the work, which organizations are putting in the work on the streets, which ones are actually making a difference, because that money needs to go somewhere that's actually making a difference. And it's hard when you're not there to tell who's making a difference and who's not, because it's really easy for charities to put a whole bunch of money to make it seem like they're doing a lot when they're really not doing much. And, it's hard sometimes for smaller charities that for anyone to even know what they're doing. And so I really want to keep it localized and keep it to the smaller grassroots charities that are really doing great work.
Yeah, I've been watching everything. That's great that you're doing that. And yeah, I was looking up your chain. I was like, and you're right. This is new because I've never even heard of it. I've started researching it and also looking at all the different charities that are being formed. And the one thing I noticed about some of the charities, they don't have. This is kind of so weird, but I look at like the HTTPS as far as the website's concerned for donation. A lot of them don't have that, by the way. I want to like reach out to each one and say, shouldn't you be more secure since you want people to donate? Um, but that's going to be another Twitter space. But I was just, I think about weird stuff like that. Like if you're in the middle of trying to raise funds or getting people to donate and helping out, you should have a secure platform.
Yeah, I certainly agree. I think what ends up happening, unfortunately, in these disaster situations is everything just moves so quick that you get the people that are helping aren't the people that know anything about tech. And so, they just set up a website real quick and but they're not really tech people. So they don't really know how important that is to have that secured. Um, and so sometimes I think that's probably what ended up happening. I would imagine is that they just the people that were setting up the website weren't really tech people. It's just a lot of these organizations start up in these tragedies, and a lot of them become great organizations. But the starting of anything, a business, a nonprofit, whatever, is going to be a little bit rocky. But yeah, that's also why we decided to go. The launch pad wasn't going to be ready for another 3 to 4 weeks, which I found to be convenient in the beginning because I thought that there was going to be a whole lot more effort going towards Hurricane Ian. I thought there was going to be a whole lot more people, a whole lot more grassroots stuff, and maybe there still will be. Maybe we'll have like a televised concert or something. Those seem to do really well and bring in a whole ton of money. Maybe we'll have something to help with Hurricane Ian that comes out in the near future. But usually by the time a couple weeks or a few weeks has passed, then nobody's looking at it anymore, and so that's why that time frame works out well too, is because it kind of hits it at a time that there's even less people looking at it.
I was just telling you in the DM, in South Florida, we usually usually hit South Florida and then we would run off to go to Fort Myers. This time around, it was totally different. And Fort Myers literally haven't had a hurricane in Bonita Spring. They haven't had a hurricane for 100 years. And the way that Bonita Spring is set up, I know a lot about the development down there as far as the neighborhoods. And it's always been like considered one of the safest town because there's a way it lays, there's like a hook to the land area. So you wouldn't for a hurricane, it wouldn't hit so hard according to the myth. But I think the storm was so high, it was like covering everything. And even it covered all, in Orlando, Central Florida. I know people, my friends they have farms. I mean, they're like smack in the middle of Orlando, right? That you didn't think anything of it. But they're stuck in their houses still and they can't get out because there's so much flooding.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, hopefully they find a way to get out of there. And yeah, I mean, NFTs are just a great way to raise money for causes, because the donor still gets something out of it, and something that could end up becoming worth even more than what the donation was. And but you still get something either way, um, and you have that to hold on to. And so and there's just a great way to raise money in this day and age. but not a whole lot of people are using it for that.
And you know what the strangest thing is? We've had the Giving Block, which is the company that helps nonprofit, be able to collect crypto. I'm gonna email them because we had Carlos and I had them on our show and as the guests, and they told us some of their projects. We were so excited that we got you on that I went ahead and checked them out, and because I was like thinking, they would be the first one to like create a campaign or raise awareness, but they didn't even post about that, and they're in Miami, which is, I don't know, crazy.
Yeah, that's really strange. I mean, especially since it was supposed to hit Miami at first. The first projections had shown it hitting Miami, and then it kind of veered off and changed course a little bit. But yeah, and Miami is no stranger to hurricanes, so they definitely know what type of damage it can do. But yeah, that's unfortunate that they're not really pretty much everyone's not really, taking a whole big, really much of a stance on helping the Ian victims.
And there's a lot of them. I think a lot of them are like in shock, because it was never, everyone evacuated. We've been trying to evacuate since last Thursday. So it's always constant, but I think what it is they didn't expect that much water. Even people in Orlando didn't expect that much, because people in Orlando it hit them. Like I heard from some of my friends were telling me the schools are flooded. The place that when usually people would go to for like evacuation, they would stay at. Those schools are flooded. So it's interesting how things have changed quite a bit. Poison, come on up. Get Poison. He's from South Florida. Hi, Poison. How are you? I'm gonna see. I think it's microphone. I don't know. Your microphone is. It's kind of weird. We're having a little weird Twitter Spaces moment, so you're in San Diego and you were starting out. You had another project, and can you tell us a little bit about yourself? I know you've been doing this for a while. What was it like? Getting into NFT in the early days and compared to now.
Well, I started about a year ago, and I started in Binance Smart Chain. So there was really nobody that was launching on that chain. And now it's the third largest chain for NFTs out of all the chains. But in the beginning, it was pretty much my collection's dominating most of the chain, most of the entire chain, and so it was a little crazy because I had to create a market that wasn't really there, and because Binance Smart Chain didn't have much of a market at all, and so I had to go ahead and create it. And Binance does not really put much effort into their smart chain or put much money into their smart chain, which is quite unfortunate because other chains do. But yeah, and then I ended up becoming the largest artist on Binance Smart Chain. So then different opportunities just started opening up to me, and even just this coming week, I might have another partnership, which may end up even helping. Actually, I can't say much about it, but I can say that it may actually end up in another long term way that could help Hurricane Ian potentially. Yeah, I've just been building my brand and building up collections. My collection that I was working on in the beginning, in the middle of all this, was Super Gremlin Society, and that has a bunch of venture capital money behind it. And so that one is going to be significantly more expensive than the schnauzers and trousers, and it's also going to be on Ethereum blockchain, which is more common, but but Near Protocol is a newer blockchain. But that one is going to be giving money to cancer related charities. It won't be 80% like Schnauzers and Trousers. Unfortunately, just due to all the venture capital and everything else, there's got to be a little bit, and all the money that we put in. I mean, we've already built a giant club in the metaverse, and we have a whole bunch of different stuff that's been put in, a whole bunch of money that's been put into that project. And so we wouldn't be able to afford to donate 80% to charity on that one. But the Schnauzers and Trousers, I really like the whole 80%. I like being able to give that much and not have to worry about not being able to make ends meet. And that's one great thing about this collection for the Hurricane Ian relief efforts, is that there's no other parties. There's nobody else that has to be able to make at least a little bit of money on top of it, and there's no and the utility is the charity donation, and so I don't have to spend massive money creating these crazy utilities, because the utility is the charity donation. When it's 80%, it's that much money. If it's only like 5-10%, then that's not really much of a utility. But when you're giving the vast majority, then that becomes the utility for the project.
I love that. Michael, did you want to ask a question? Hi, Michael.
Hi, so Tonya and everybody. I just had a comment, if I may, but it's up to you.
Go ahead.
I think that South Florida, we have a lot of experience, sadly to say, with hurricanes and things like that in this part of the world, just like California has experience, unfortunately, with their weather system, with earthquakes, etc. Our state was told that the entire state was in the cold. There's really no reason for any Floridian, in my opinion, to have been caught off guard. We had been given ample warning. People were told to leave and evacuate. A lot of people heeded that warning in the West Coast, and sadly, there were those that did not heed the warning. Even though it's a so-called mandatory evacuation, it's not a mandatory evacuation the way they explained it on the news. It just means that they are saying that this experience is going to be so troublesome that it's strongly recommended for you to leave, to go a couple of towns up, or in this case, maybe even to a different state, because the cone originally, as I said, was from the West Coast to the East Coast. Our governor was at that time, as well as Marco Rubio, as well as Rick Scott, was against the stopgap bill, which did eventually pass the House and Senate and signed by President Obama for FEMA relief for more than $118 million. Originally, when the bills came up, there were 48 Republicans.
Michael, I'm sorry, but I know where you're going with this. I totally understand. I really want to focus on the NFT project. I didn't want to.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought this was.
Yeah. No, I know where you're going with this. I've been following this quite a bit. I just right now, and I made this comment too. I want us to focus more on raising the awareness instead of we're talking about who voted on what, to be honest with you.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. I'll stop. I thought we were talking about everything concerning this particular hurricane. And my only point was we had sufficient funds, and I don't think that the NFT demon should have to be forced, or anybody, to contribute money for relief now that we have $118 million that did finally pass. I think it's more advantageous if you lived in the state of Florida and had reliable transportation. I'm FEMA trained. I was also a FEMA instructor that taught the community emergency response team out of the college right here in Palm Beach State College. I was one of the teachers. It's a 24-hour course that was spread out over 8 weeks. I'm one of the people that would certify you if you pass the course. So if you're able to, and you can safely travel up to, say, West Palm Beach, and even into the west, go to the western part of the state, there are plenty of people that are displaced. And if you can help them bringing food, bringing clothing, things like that, toiletries, even deodorant. That right now is very helpful. There are many, many people in the shelters in dire desperation with their children and even infants. This storm has hurt a tremendous amount of people. It's displacing people and separating people. They have literally lost everything. They have no home. They have no automobiles. They have no nothing. And they've exhausted a lot of their finances or savings in their bank accounts to try to help with these kids. Some people, tragically, as you know, lost their lives. So that's a spiritual end, which I won't go into. But all I'm saying is if you're able to come out here, or if you live here, rather than donate money, if you can go and help clean up the mess from Hurricane Ian, I think that that's more appropriate, because, as said, we now do have enough money. So I don't think it's, I mean, if you want to give, that's fine. But I know for a fact that the president has signed into law the stopgap bill that I started to talk about. So the money is there. So these are just suggestions. Hold on to your money unless you want to give. Nobody's telling you not to. But I just think it's more advantageous if we can go up, talking to the people who are displaced, sometimes just giving a listening ear. You don't have to be a psychiatrist or in the mental health field. Sometimes just listening and not commenting and being an encourager can help people emotionally. I think that there's a lot of people emotionally hurting real bad, especially the ones that lost their loved ones in this horrific tragedy from Hurricane Ian.
Michael, just let me interrupt you. Sorry, just a second. Listen. First of all, remember that we are in a global, absolutely global medium, and maybe there is people listening to this in Japan or any place in the world. It's difficult. I mean, I understand your physical, immediately physical or closeness approach, which was the oldest approach, or the older approach. It's just like when you had something happening and asking for help. We had the terrible in 1999 here in Venezuela. We had the biggest mudslide. I think it's even a record Guinness. A whole mountain come out or down from the side of Caracas. And, you know, there is a lesson I learned in that situation 23 years ago. And I think that the most important thing in a situation like this is the famous quote by Henry Ford, he said, "Don't find culprits, find remedies." And that applies to a factory of automobiles, that applies to a family, handling a family with family members, discussing or arguing or having convivence programs, whatever. Sometimes we concentrate a lot in finding culprits and pointing and finger pointing, and that's not exactly that's the thing that
Carlos, it's not about
needed.
finger pointing. It's
No,
about
but let me finish, please,
if you can
please,
send clothing.
please, I beg you, let me finish my point. I mean, we understand your position, as Tonya told you, okay? But we don't actually never, this is in our space number 30, okay? This is the first time that our purpose has been detoured. It was with your participation. We are allowing that because we know you are a friend of the house. But listen, this is something that people, okay, regarding, there are so many kinds of help, okay, regarding of the actual situation, that you have different positions. For example, I am sure that Demon won't be the only person thinking of NFTs as a medium for giving help to these people, which has distress, as you're actually depicting and describing correctly. Okay, but
Yeah,
what
he left already, Carlos. But I think he just didn't quite understand. This is about NFTs, and this is what this space is about. And we've been, I wanted to tell him that, and we're trying to like raise more awareness so that maybe through featuring, you know, NFT Demon 420's projects, to understand that giving back for a cause is such an important thing, and especially for Web3. So again, I wanted to like just kind of like raise awareness about this project, and hopefully by raising awareness by this project, then we get more music NFT, film 3 people who want to.
And we even, I mean, this has been a space, the way we have been handling it, even considering maybe utopical things, because, for example, disasters like this will keep happening all over the world, not only in the States. And the growing of the Bitcoin and blockchains and NFT issues will be growing at the same time. I mean, will be bigger and bigger as soon as the time is passing by. And it's coming to me when I started listening to Michael, I was thinking, wouldn't it be possible, because we are asking them which organizations specifically are going to help in this case? Wouldn't it be possible, and this is an idea I proposing to everybody listening here, that there should be some kind of international, just like a special blockchain channel, just like a helping or emergency, just like a place with a special blockchain, more transparent than the others, the biggest in transparency, in just like in clarity, faster in doing the smart contracts and stuff, that can allow to make people and to say, just like in older times, you said, oh, the Red Cross, the international, then the Red Half Moon for the Muslim people. But you got used that these organizations like the Red Cross and stuff, where you can put your trust and your confidence in them. So why don't create some kind of Red Cross-like blockchains? You know what I mean? It's like special channels that when you don't have to discuss every time that a disaster happens, let's go, just like, hey, Damon, where are you? How are you going to handle this? Okay, I got some friends near for mayors. They don't lose their day. But every case, Tonga people, people with different situations, it's just like we should have just like a channel pre-established, no matter the kind of catastrophe, that we don't have to be discussing the point regarding who is going to handle the money, because that way, that channel, that medium will be already established and everybody will have confidence in it. It's a little bit, I'm going to make a comparison, even when some people is not so happy with, for example, PayPal. But when internet, the whole thing started, and the possibility of buying and purchasing stuff in the web, PayPal appeared, who, by the way, was partially or totally created by Elon Musk. It was a good idea. It was just like, hey, instead of starting from zero every time I'm going to make a transaction, okay, why don't we have something like it could become like the PayPal for catastrophes? And we have just like we don't have to discuss that point, because you will be drawing the NFTs, you will be selling them, and then you will say, okay, we are handling this Monday or Tuesday. We can do a live space, we can do a live Instagram, whatever, and we can set and we can have the spokespersons from this special Red Cross-like blockchain saying, oh, okay, we are receiving now the NFTs from Mr. Demon 420 collaboration, and so and so. And every case will be handled faster, because I think that we're making that question, Tonya, in every program. We're making that the same question. I mean, and who is going to handle? How are you going to do it? I mean, how we can be sure that the money is going to get into the right hands, okay? And so somehow something with the earthquake in Haiti, a lot of several strange things happened in that moment. Not all the money for the IT help was finally into the hands of really needed Haitians, and that's the case in many parts of the world, all over and every time. So I'm thinking just like in a bigger and long-term solution instead of going in a case-by-case basis. That's my a little bit crazy proposal.
Well, I understand that. And Jeremy, did you go ahead? The mic is yours. I feel bad that we kind of like took over.
Oh, it's cool. Yeah, no, that could work quite well. And when it comes to organizations like the Red Cross, like the American Red Cross, for instance, isn't quite as good as a lot of Red Crosses in a lot of places as far as where they spend their money. If you actually look into where their money's going, not really that large of a percentage actually goes towards what it's supposed to go towards. And so,
yeah, sorry, excuse me. That's why I said that in the older times, I mean, I clearly didn't want to say that they are not totally reliable now, but sorely, I think that's the truth. I mean, the Red Cross doesn't mean in terms of confidence and trustiness what it meant. I am 61 years old now. When I was 20, I mean, nobody doubted about the Red Cross transparency for putting in some way, you know what I mean? But 40 years later, the situation is not the same. I understand that's what I propose in this idea. It's just like,
or it could be the same. The situation may be the same. They may be spending money just as bad as they always did, but because we didn't have the internet to pay attention to this kind of stuff, you may not have known 60 years ago or 40 years ago that they were spending money horribly, but they could have been doing it just as bad as they do now. And so
yes, and then you have a great point with that. I do agree. Right, true.
And going to Mike's point, even though he's no longer here, but going to Mike's point, you really can't trust the government to spend money the right way. So just because the government has been authorized this amount of money, which even 118 million doesn't sound like enough to me for what's going to be needed to recover. I mean, you have entire cities wiped away. And some of that's going to have insurance, some of that's not. The stuff that doesn't have insurance is going to be, I think, probably more than 118 million or 180 million or whatever he said. I think it's going to be closer to $1 billion, probably at least in damages, if not more than $1 billion, because you have an entire quadrant of a coast that's decimated, and that's not cheap. And so, I just going to that point.
That bill that he's talking about, it also proceeds of that is going to the Ukraine too. So there's a lot of money going around.
Yeah, the government's not good at spending money. I just don't trust the government to spend money, even if they passed $1 billion just for Hurricane Ian. I wouldn't trust that all of the needs would be met. Even if that was above what was estimated to be needed to meet all the needs. There's just so much waste in the government, and there's just so much corruption. And it doesn't matter what state or what party. This isn't a one party thing or a one state thing. It's just, at least, well, I don't know, I can't speak for other countries, but at least in the US, all the governments are really fucked up. So then they don't spend money right. None of the governments spend money right here. Whether that be Florida or whether that be California, which are two completely opposite ways of spending money. But either way, none of them are spending it right.
And that's why I love the NFT projects that are giving back and doing these kind of things. And also, Web3 is so new and so different. Like not too many people think of it that way. When I got into crowdfunding campaigns, I call it crowdfunding bash, where I throw big parties and proceeds from people coming into the door. I would donate it to, I remember Haiti had a tornado. No, not tornado. They had a hurricane. They had an earthquake. I mean, we threw parties and raised money and gave it to small nonprofit organization that we felt that would help them. Because back in, I think it was like in 2010 when the hurricane, the earthquake happened in Haiti, I don't think those people got the amount of money that was raised during that whole social media text to donate, and we thought they did, but then you look back, they apparently they didn't. So again, I love the fact that we're able to get together on a social network, on social audio, and be able to talk to each other and hear each other from all part of the world, and have different causes that we believe in. So I'm thrilled that you're here today because, like you said, we can sit here and say, yeah, the government's going to take care of this. They're going to do this. Don't worry about it. I don't believe in that. I think it's up to the citizens who, if you're able to help, yes, definitely do. But if you're able to understand and like doing what you're doing, I think it's fantastic. And I'm hoping by featuring your project and talking a little bit more about how you work on Web3 and doing, especially you have two projects that are going on right now and giving back. I mean, we had Charlie here. He's in a space. He did his project. He was actually on our space last Sunday to talk about his project. He's donating to the Ukraine war, and like he's donating a lot actually. This is his second project. So again, I think if we just don't focus on, it's wonderful that I pay taxes. I know some of my money should be going to FEMA and doing all kind of stuff, helping and all that. But at the end of the day, I don't believe that they're gonna be using all that money to help the people that's in need. So it needs small organizations that are always trying to help out, and trying to raise awareness or create some, even no matter how big or small the funds are, as long as it gets to the people. And I think that's the key. I feel like if we just sit there and wait and not worry about it, it's a wrong way to look at it. So Jeremy, 2,500 NFTs you're minting, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that. That's a very aggressive. Actually very like giving, but I just like that's a lot of
Yeah,
pieces.
it's actually it does seem like quite a bit, but it's not. My average collection is usually 5,000 to 10,000, so it's actually smaller than my average collection. It's not smaller than my smallest collection though. But I would say my average is probably about 7,000. But the reason I chose 2,500 was simply because I didn't want to overload the network, and I didn't want to create a collection that wasn't going to sell out. And the higher the number you go, the harder it gets to sell out. And on an obscure blockchain like Near Protocol, because Near Protocol is brand new, and they're a little bit more, well, not brand new, but they're much newer than Ethereum, but and Solana. But Near Protocol, it's got decent volume and it's got a good community, but I don't know if they're ready for a 10,000 piece collection yet. And I'm not sure if they're quite ready for that area. And I figured 80%, I'm going to do them at $20 worth of Near a piece. So it's going to be actually my cheapest collection that I've done so far, as far as entry price goes. It will be my most inexpensive collection, but it will also, hopefully, the goal is that it will sell out really quickly, and so that that'll be 80% will be $40,000 for charity, just right, just like that. And for a small organization, a small grassroots organization, $40,000 is a lot of money, and can do a whole lot of good if you choose the right people that are doing the right things in the right area. You know.
I love that. And so hey Brent, did you want to ask a question? I know you had the microphone. Also want to say hi to Sharon. She used to be my co-host on one of my shows on Thursday, actually.
Yeah, feel free to ask any questions.
No, I just wanted to say that I am well about to find a way to send donate money. So an NFT would be a great way for me to donate money for the hurricane relief.
Yeah, and that's really the goal, is to give people another way to donate. And some people prefer not to just write out a check and send it in the mail, or just make a quick debit card donation or whatever.
Because I'm all about giving back, and Tonya knows that I'm all about helping.
Well, that's great. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, it's great when people are all about helping, and it's great to give back.
And I'm happy to help any way that I can help with any project related stuff that you're doing.
All right, sounds good. Yeah, I don't know of any help that we need at the moment, but that's good to know, and I definitely appreciate it.
So do you host a lot of Twitter Spaces?
I don't actually host a lot of them, although pretty soon for the really big project, the one that's like massive with a bunch of venture capital funding and everything else, I'll probably end up hosting spaces on that Twitter account pretty soon, because that's got 13,000 followers. So I'll probably end up hosting Twitter spaces pretty soon on that, just to do like AMAs and whatnot. But I go into a lot of Twitter spaces and just talk about my projects and talk about what I'm doing. I think it's important, and I think it's important as artists. There's so many artists in this field that get to a certain point in their career. I've been very successful with my art, and I've been very successful with NFTs. But there's a lot of people that get to that point and then they stop doing the stuff, like actually talking to smaller groups through Twitter Spaces, and actually, outreach and everything else. And they still sell. But to me, I think that you always got to stay grounded in the baseline. The baseline when I was starting was smaller groups, and was the more grassroots type of movements, and the more grassroots type of marketing. And so I never want to veer away from that, no matter how large I become as an artist, because I don't think that I just don't agree with forgetting where you came from, and I don't agree with stopping, stopping more community, easier community spaces. Because when you get in a Twitter space with 500 people, it's kind of frustrating sometimes, because that there's 200, 300 people that have questions that are never going to get answered. So that, like, you can't answer everybody's question, you can't respond to everybody, simply because the numbers just don't allow it. It's not the host's fault, it's not Twitter's fault, it's nobody's fault. It just is what it is. And so I actually prefer a lot more personal, a lot more intimate settings, where anybody who wants to ask a question can ask a question. At the end of it, I know that everybody's gotten out whatever they want to say, and that's how I prefer it. So yeah, I really appreciate spaces like this, and I really appreciate coming in and doing it. So every day that I can, I do spaces. Carlos actually just hit me up earlier today, and I happen to be available. So I said, yeah, I'd love to. But and half the time the spaces are the same day. It's the same day somebody says, hey, you want to come on this space and come, talk about this, whether it be one project or the other. And I'm always glad to do that. So, as long as I don't have anything else planned during that time, which I didn't, thankfully, today, then I'm always glad.
Listen, but I want to tell you something. What Tonya and I, during these 3 weeks, we have been sometimes preparing spaces like 15 days in advance. I mean, we like to have a schedule. For example, if you cannot do it this Sunday, and this you cannot, and we cannot have you the next Sunday. We say, okay, let's make it in 15 days, and we set up, and we have been, I will say, like 30 or 40% of the spaces we have held, sorry, had been like that. But in this case, this was an emergency situation. I mean, we already had something to be, some person to be here with us with another subject. I think music related or something. But this time, like journalistically speaking, you have to go with the hottest, and sad. It's sad that the hottest news has to be tragic and catastrophic, like in this occasion. But we will feel bad as public relationists or journalists, as is my case too, just to be talking today about NFTs regarding any other subject different than Ian's, because Ian's is so close home. It's actually, Tonya lives in actual Florida, and it is just like the forced subject. The problem was that just like, it is too soon to find someone thinking of helping the Ian's hurricane victims through NFTs. And well, it happened that it wasn't. But in this case, we were forced because of the pressure of the moment. Because you said something very important. In 1 or 2 weeks, probably people, if there is nothing more, and there is not a second hurricane hitting in 3 days, in 2 weeks, people will be talking about any other thing. I mean, there is such a huge loss of memory of actual things. So it's just like you're right regarding that thing of waiting, and also when the days pass by, you need exactly what is more needed, and we are more clear about the instances who could help. As you say, maybe the same neighbors organize or without the help of the communities, because as you say, every government, it doesn't matter if it's governors, if it's a state government, if it's the total government, and it doesn't matter the country. I think that everywhere there's people just like trying to get money from even any kind of tragedy. I'm going to put you a very, very personal case. I used to have a television show just like Dave Letterman. Okay, I was the Venezuelan Dave Letterman in the year 1989. Okay, and I had a sidekick, my friend, my dear and beloved Ivan Lemon, he died like it's gonna be 2 months now since he passed away. Okay, we were putting on the internet, on Twitter and different platforms, a lot of people, because we have become kind of a cult following thing in Venezuela, because in the moment the program came on the air, nobody knew about the talk show format in the Venezuelan television. So we were the first ones. So that influenced a lot of people, a lot of creators, people doing great things today. They recognize in interviews, they said, oh, no, because of this show, okay. We thank God, the family of Ivan had the money for the burial and the inhumation and all the funerary expenses, okay? Well, we detected two television stations, one private and one state-owned. They were putting inside their newscast this following message. Oh, the family of Ivan Lemon, my former sidekick, is asking for help for his funerary expenses. And that was a total and utter lie. I got angry and I had to go to my Twitter. I have 107,000 followers, and I have 30,000 Instagram. And I asked the help of a lot of friends to say, hey, hoax alert. It's totally false. It's not true. but the family of Ivan Lemon is not asking money for his burial. It's not asking money for his funerary thing. So imagine, I mean, just with one case, in this case, just because he was a public person, very well known, everybody remembers him because he was like he was my Ed McMahon, in case if you want to be the comparison, or he was my Paul Schaefer. He was the sidekick. And of course, the sidekick gets to be known as the host, as the main host. So imagine that people playing with the pain of the family and the pain of the fans, and they were people and two television stations. I didn't name them because I didn't want legal trouble, but I said in television, in some digital media, and in a lot of platforms, they are asking money for. Well, okay, that's a lie, and please help to spread the word that that's not the case. We are not asking for money for his funerary expenses. So that goes to give you an idea. Imagine in the middle of a big earthquake, the mudslides in California, or a big fire like in Australia. I mean, the people will jump in immediately to say, "Oh, let's save the koalas in Australia." Let's say, people. There are good and bad people everywhere. That's the truth. Sorry, but we have to accept that.
Well, and the government is not trustable anywhere. There's good and bad people everywhere, and in my opinion, the government isn't trustable anywhere.
Yeah, exactly. Well, maybe the proportion maybe 3% of good people and the rest is bad, but it's always like that. I mean, you cannot really believe in every kind of offer, every kind of thing. That's what I was thinking of this utopia. Again, just like why don't we have just like kind of a Red Cross or international helpline that is exclusively just like the official global planetary, just like in a Marvel comic scene, just like in a science fiction picture. It's like, let's establish the coalition for creating a worldwide blockchain, giant blockchain, which is totally transparent, open to everyone, and every kind of help that is going to be to this situation should be handled through that kind of blockchain.
I think that's
sure.
something that you got to get the founders of all the different blockchains together, sit in a room and talk about it.
Yes, exactly. Just like
So I wanted
United
to
Nations or
also
something like that. Exactly.
give the mic to Sharon. Hey, Sharon, how are you?
Hi.
How you been?
Oh my God. I've been good, but I'm exhausted. I'm here in Tampa, and I'm currently deployed to Florida because of Hurricane Ian. And so I chimed in because I saw your little hashtag on Hurricane Ian. I don't have anything to say about NFT, but I'm here trying to make it happen, and just let people know that there are funds available for them to help them in their recovery process. So, yep.
So Sharon and I used to do social chats together. She was one of my co-hosts back in the early days.
Yeah, it was open house we did.
Yeah, we did real estate
and construction. Yep.
Oh, very nice.
Yep. Small time stuff compared to you guys.
No, nothing is small. We went to conferences. We went to builders, contractors.
Yeah, we did all that stuff.
We interviewed all the builders and the association, APC.
Yeah, it's still up on her YouTube if you dare take a look.
Well, I have like 800 and something videos, but I still have like 8,000 to upload. So.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, ours is up there. Yep.
I have it.
So I take it you're National Guard then?
I work for the Small Business Administration.
Oh, okay. You said deployed, so I thought you were National Guard.
Yeah, so FEMA gets deployed. We get deployed to an area after a disaster. That's what it's called.
Oh, the SBA does too?
Yeah, I work in the Office of Disaster Assistance.
Oh, damn, I didn't even know they had one of those.
Yeah, right?
Now you do. So a lot of people don't know. They're like, oh, SBA. They're like, well, I don't have a business. And I'm like, well, SBA is actually the largest provider of disaster recovery funds.
Damn, everyone knows FEMA, but no, yeah, I don't think many people know SBA.
They might
Oh.
know SBA if they get like a small business loan, like a 504, 7A, or micro
Oh,
loan
they
or
know
something
of
like
it.
that.
Yeah.
Right, right. Or because of COVID, where Trump put us on the map, but we actually were already doing loans, and then the government asked us, hey, after FEMA, because FEMA only gives you so much, right? There's still a gap of the recovery process. So yeah, there's additional grants that sometimes states will have, or the local areas will have. And then other like nonprofit, smaller community nonprofit organizations might have something going on, as you guys were mentioning earlier in the call. But SBA helps, you know, with the full recovery process. And so, you know, I would say the SBA, but I work under the Office of Disaster Assistance umbrella, even though it's, you know, still SBA. So we do have another side where we just do disaster assistance. So anytime, like I just came from West Virginia a couple days ago, and my airplane was literally flying through Hurricane Ian as we were trying to land in Charlotte. So it was a very interesting experience, to say the least. So I've been on the road since, I would say, I mean, off and on since last August, September, and I was home for a couple of months here and there where there was like some slow time, but I've been kind of on the road nonstop since like July for various declarations. Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you for what you do. Thank
You're
you for
welcome.
helping out.
Mm-hmm. You're welcome. So,
Yeah,
yeah, so I have some colleagues that are coming into the area, and one of them will be right down there in like the Broward area, Collier County. And I was like, of course, you would like send them down to an area that I'm familiar with. I was like, so
I was going to ask
it's
you, why aren't you
interesting.
down here instead of
Yeah,
up
because
there?
I'm not the lead on this declaration. I was the lead on the previous one, but not this one. But I've been doing such a great job. They decided to give me, I have my own 3 counties, plus I'm going to be training another agent and their 3 counties. And then there's a declaration within the declaration. So like a project within a project. There's the Seminole tribe in Polk County. There's going to have their own declaration within Polk County. And so I'm going to be responsible for that as well. So I'm a little fried. I've been working every day. I haven't had a day off yet. So just going to beef up on my vitamin C and B complex. So
Well,
I
I'm
can
so
stay
glad you
alert.
can pop in, and you know, like
Thank
again,
you. Yeah.
Polk County is interesting. That used to be my territory. I didn't even know there was
Yeah.
Seminole Indians in Polk. Oh, I think there's Indians
Right, because
everywhere
I
in
was thinking
Florida.
Broward County, but there's a Seminole tribe. It's a new community that's open in the Lakeland area. So it's kind of like somewhere in that vicinity. I remember looking online, but there is one in Hollywood, and I was thinking, oh, it's in Broward County. Why do you guys keep putting Seminole? Because I guess they were thinking Seminole tribe, Seminole County, and I'm like, no, no, no. Seminole County is like northeast side. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting, and the counties just keep adding up. Like right now there's several areas, counties that have like, well, FEMA calls them, I don't know if that guy is still on, but FEMA calls them individuals, you know, counties where they offer individual assistance. SBA calls them primary counties or contiguous counties. Primary counties are where the primary damage has occurred, and contiguous counties are only SBA terminology, not FEMA, because we realize that there are going to be businesses in counties that are adjacent to the primary counties where the damage occurred that will have also severe impact. So, you know, people are spending money on recovery. They're not spending it on circulating money into the economy. Probably not. So there are going to be businesses that are impacted by the disaster. And so we're actually opening a recovery center tomorrow, as a matter of fact, so people can go and apply for funds and get that started.
Well, I'd love to do a Twitter Spaces with you about that. Maybe you can share some tips or something, but I don't know if you need approval or not. But it's about.
Oh, so I can do interviews. So I can do interviews. I don't know if I can do any kind of posting online, but we could talk about doing an interview if you want. And
You got the same phone number before? Like you had before?
954. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but
I'll text you.
I also have a work line, but you can text me there and we'll talk about it and then hopefully put something together.
Yeah, we can do that, and then because it's about 7:15, I want to wrap up the space for the NFTs for a cause. Carlos had to leave because he had to take care of something for his family. But Jeremy, tell us. So when are you going to mint for this project?
So on Friday, they said that minting would be within a month. And so the actual launch pad that we're using for Near, so Near Protocol is a newer blockchain. So you kind of, in order to get things to go through Near, you need to heavily market to the Near existing base. The easiest way to do that is to go through a Near launch pad, which is basically just a launch pad that a bunch of people join, and then they end up minting the NFTs. Now, I highly doubt that any of them are going to be like, "Oh, well, this is bullshit. This charity NFT." So we'll probably get pretty good results on that. Unfortunately, we'll also be the first collection actually on their launch pad. So that's actually pretty big because the first collections on launch pads tend to do really well, and so what we're going to do is we're going to launch it, but they just on the technical side weren't ready for another 3 to 4 weeks. But they said on Friday, if they're not ready within a month, they have a second process that they can use that will make them ready. It just won't be the exact same as what they were planning before. And so the end user, it won't be any different, but to them, it's a little bit different. The tech side is a little bit different if they just push it through in a month versus if they do it the same way they plan to do every project for the rest of the time that they do the launch pad. And so, that's the only thing. But within 3 to 4 weeks, it'll definitely be ready and it'll be mintable. And yeah, I'm hoping for a really quick mint out and to be able to disperse those funds to some community organizations pretty quickly.
Well, I love that. And are there any music NFTs for that platform, or is it just art?
I'm not really sure, to be honest with you. I don't. Near Protocol is pretty new, so I doubt that there's music NFTs on Near Protocol yet. But Near is doing all the right things to become a decent chain later on in the future. They're just so new, and so they're investing a whole lot of money into their chain, which is really good, and which won't make any sense for people that don't know NFTs, which is fine if you don't. But that they are investing or crypto, but yeah, they are investing a whole lot of money into themselves, basically. When I say their chain, for if there's anybody in here who doesn't know like blockchain and crypto and NFTs, when I say their chain, I just mean themselves as an entity. Their chain is themselves. So when they're investing a lot of money into their chain, it means they're investing a lot of money into themselves and into bringing talent into their chain or network. And so, yeah. I think that. Oh yeah, I see that. That Tonya shared some stuff with Few and Far. But yeah, Few and Far is actually right now the largest. They just started on Near and they took over and became the largest marketplace on the entire chain. And so they don't have the launch pad yet. And the second largest marketplace, who used to be the largest, doesn't have a launch pad either. But they're going to be the first Near marketplace with a launch pad. And if you look at Solana, Magic Eden kind of changed the game and became a game changer just because of their launch pad. And their launch pad is rather controversial, but their launch pad was what made them what they were, and what made them the industry leader. And so I don't expect any different with Few and Far for their launch pad to make them an industry leader in Near blockchain. So hopefully we can mint this out quick, and hopefully we can get a lot of money over to the hurricane victims. And the other part about it is it's not just about the primary myth. So we know off the bat that there's $40,000 that's going to be immediately, if it wants to mince out. I don't think there's much of a chance that it won't mint out, because I'm not the type of person to give up. So, if a week from now it hasn't minted out yet, I'm still going to continue at it. I'm still going to continue going until it does mint out. But that's $40,000 fully minted out for the charity. But what isn't included in that is the secondary sales. And the secondary sales can have a percentage up to 10%. And so that means that every time everyone's buying and selling on a marketplace, you're getting 10% of that. And so then that can go over the charities as well. So it's possible that if this collection really takes off, then it could be massive money for charities. I mean, if you look, we probably aren't going to do the same numbers as Yuga Labs, which is the largest NFT company in existence. But Yuga Labs does over $1 billion a year in secondary sales. So, there's a whole lot of money that can be made, and that can end up going to charity on a consistent basis, just based off secondary sales and based off people buying them later on after they've minted them.
Yeah, I love talking about secondary, so I think a lot of people forget about that. I think Charlie's project, he was giving it away. He was, oh my gosh, he was doing a lot. With his collection, so I thought it was kind of interesting too. And I actually helped with all the different projects we helped. One of them was I forgot, they're like the bumblebees. I forgot what the project is called, but they had a secondary market with that they were donating was supposedly 10% to buy phones, but then now this was in February. Now I don't see that anymore, so it kind of changes. So, and again, it's depending on the smart contract. So, and and also any marketplace, it's really being the first one there, right?
Yeah, and as far as secondary sales go, and as far as like secondary sales revenues go, the contract itself, this is actually a funny thing with NFTs that you don't really know unless you've created a collection. The contract itself allows you to put a percentage for royalties for secondary sales, but that doesn't matter. None of the marketplaces actually go off of that. So you have to individually go to the marketplaces and say, this is what the percentage that I want is. So it's really interesting in smart contracts because everybody thinks that they actually set the percentages for secondary sales for commission, but they actually don't, only because the marketplaces don't honor that.
Wow. I feel like I need a class on this. So, but it's about 7:22. I'm gonna go ahead and shut down this space. And so I know, Charlie, every day I learn something new. So so, and Charlie is the NFT artist that we featured last Sunday. So he's I've literally I always talk about this. You can sit in a space and have 2, 3, 4 people, and it's fine compared to us in a space with 500 people, because that's how I met Charlie, just sitting in a space and there was just like 2 of us. And then he came in and we sat around and talked and we got to know each other, and we ended up going into each other's spaces, and I end up supporting a lot of his projects that he gets involved in, and then he supports other artists too. And then Poison here is a music NFT artist, and he pops into Crypto God Louie music NFT, and I think he just launched his new music NFT project. So again, it's like whole community. And so Jeremy, let me know, and anytime you're doing a space, just send me a DM, and then I'll pop in and whatever I can do to help, and especially for this project, because I feel it's important, and that you wanted the first one, and I applaud you for that, because again, I've been looking for projects or giving back to the Hurricane Ian, and I didn't find any, and then there you were.
Well, sounds good. Well, thank you. Yeah, I'm glad to be on. And yeah, like I said, sorry, I really like these small spaces because they, allow a more intimate level of conversation than the large spaces. where, you know, the majority of the people that want to know something aren't ever going to get an answer to it. So, you know, I really like this.
Yeah, and I'm also distributing too. So what I do is I take this, it becomes a podcast. It goes on Anchor, it goes out to 10 other podcasting, and this is distributed to other, especially my YouTube channel. So we run ads on it, and so I'm gonna go and add more of your links to your other projects onto the description. So this way, you know, so when we have you come back to talk about your gremlin project, because you know that's another, because I was reading up on that too, and I was like, oh my gosh, we need to have him come back now and talk about that project.
Yeah.
When is that minting?
That'll probably be minting mid to late November, I'd imagine. Right now, that's what it looks like. It's probably mid to late November, so a bit after Schnauzers and Trousers. But yeah, I mean, I really enjoy coming on to it all and spreading the word. And you know, I'm trying to kind of set a different trajectory in the NFT space, and especially in the large collection NFT space, because no matter how you look at it, the small artists are what prop the NFT space up and keep it going, but the large collections are what keep the hype. So, you know, it's like you need both. You need the large collections, you need the large artists, and you need the small artists. And without either one of those, NFTs would fail. And you have both of them here. And so I like to make the large collections. And I think that more people who make large collections should be following the example, but they can't follow an example that they don't have. And so that's where I'm coming in and trying to start an example. You know, Schnauzers and Trousers is a massive percentage. Not very many artists would give that same percentage. But Super Gremlin Society is going to be a smaller percentage. We haven't actually decided on the percentage, to be honest with you, yet. But that's going to be a smaller percentage. But that's something that every artist of every big collection can do. And so me being a large artist, it allows me to reach other large artists that are already in my network, because obviously we're all friends, you know, well, not all of us, but a lot of the large NFT artists are friends with each other and talk to each other and whatnot, and follow each other. I mean, I don't even have to tell them. They're going to see that this is what I'm doing. And so they might get an idea. And that's really what it is. It's about leading by example and about trying to set a new standard in the industry that that isn't all about profits and can be more about helping people.
I love it. I agree with you, and I hope you come back and talk to us about your Super Gremlin Society, and like right before you meant, the Sunday before you meant, and so that we can create more hype. And again, you know, I just follow you, so let's follow each other, stay in contact. Send me anytime you do a space, let me know. If I'm available, I will pop in and I'll share it out. And again, I want to appreciate Poison for being here, Charlie for being here, and and if anyone out there, if you're listening, if you know anyone that has an NFT project that they want to feature, just go ahead and reach out to me. Like I said, we host an NFTs for a cause every Sunday. We have talked to so many different projects. We've had Charlie on twice, actually, for 2 different projects. So Poison, I'll see you later. I'm going to be in Crypto God Louis Music NFT. And again, everyone have a great day. And thank you, Jeremy, for being here. And I appreciate you for popping in and sharing your project.
Thanks for having me. And yeah, and anybody else who has any questions that is on any of the other live stream channels, just feel free. NFT Demon 420 is my social medias. NFTdemon.com has my Facebook as well, which is under my legal name, Jeremy Ryan, which I don't hide. I'm a completely doxed founder of projects. But either way, feel free to shoot me a message if you have a question, or if you want to know something. You know, as long as it might take me a little while to see it, but once I see it, I'm generally really responsive. I like talking to people.
I love it. Thank you.